guys, and welcome back to another video with our high mileage E92 M3. In the last video you saw that we changed the front suspension components and it made a really huge difference to the way the car drove, and it felt much more like our Japan red E92 M3. I was still complaining about the rear and that still feels really loose, so we're going to try our first step at trying to rectify that today. So let's go over to see Aston and see what we're going to be fitting. All right, Aston?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Yeah, good. So what are we going to do as a first step for trying to cure that rear wandering around there?
So obviously on the rear you've got a number of arms.
Yep.
You've got the main lower arm with a spring set on it. There's an arm towards the front here. There's 3 arms at the top. The 3 we're going to change today are this one here, the one right at the top, and the one towards the front. The reason for that is these are probably the cheaper option to change.
Yep.
Purely because, like, labour-wise, they've already got the bushes in the arms.
Okay.
So whereas like this arm here and this arm here, the bushes for these are inside the hub and inside the subframe.
Right.
So if you're going to change those out, you have to press the bushes out, or it's ideal to change the bushes as well, which is more labour-intensive, as well as changing the arms. So what we're going to do today to save time and to save money and to see if it improves it is just change those 3.
Okay.
This arm here does have the eccentric bolt on it for the toe, so we're going to have to realign it anyway.
Right.
And then obviously this one's for the camber, but we're going to address that later when we change the bushes.
Okay, so when the car's on the ramp like this, can you tell by any kind of movement that they're not doing what they should be doing?
It's similar to the front.
Yeah.
So you've got like that motion there.
Okay.
And you can see the bush is kind of pressing a little bit there.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see because they've got the rubber boots on them anyway, but there is obviously play in it. So
you wouldn't expect there to be that much?
A lot more. The newer arms will be a lot stiffer than that. Again, we don't know for sure if this is what's causing the sloppiness or whether it's kind of these bushes as well. But if you're going to be spending the money, you wouldn't want to spend money on all of them and then realise that you only had to do a few of them. Yeah, so you're better off doing it in stages.
And for us as well, because we're trying to show like a more cost-effective way of upgrading and fixing the car, if those fix like 80% of the problem with only a small percentage of the money, then that's where someone would go first, because when we do these, that's going to end up costing a lot more in labour.
Especially in labour-wise, of pushing the bushes out. The actual parts themselves aren't that expensive, but pressing them in and out is going to be obviously more labour-intensive.
It takes a lot of time.
When you're doing these, it's probably going to be best. Well, when we do these, we're probably going to do the actual subframe bushes as well. So we'll drop the whole lot and do it all as one. Okay. You can change these in situ if you've got the bearing press or the bush press, but you don't. If we're going to drop the whole thing,
I think we're probably going to drop the whole thing and do subframe bushes.
Because we'll do those and we'll do the diff mounts as well.
Okay.
But the new arms we're fitting to bring the trolley over. Again, we've gone with the TRW to bring the cost down a little bit, and they're the same as the BMW ones. They've done the same thing, they shaved the BMW.
Yeah, so BMW logo would have been there.
Would have been there, and the same on these there, and there. And so they're the same as the BMW part, just directly from TRW. We've also got new bolts as well. These have come from BMW just because they're not that expensive anyway. It just makes sense to get them from there, and they were quite available, so it saved messing around trying to find them online. But yeah, these are all the new arms. Those are the inner ones that fit to the subframe end. And those are the ends that fit onto the hub. You can't really do a lot of movement on here anyway because it's not fixed, but that's a lot stiffer than the one that's on the car.
Cool. Okay, so you're going to get these on now.
Yep.
And then I'll join you afterwards once you've fitted them.
Yep.
Align the car, and then I'll take it for a drive and see what difference it's made.
Hopefully it improves it like the front ones have done.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Sloppy that is. Wow, this one's tight. That is really tight. So the job's completed and I've changed all 3 arms either side. We're hoping that this is going to make a big improvement like we did on the front. As I showed you at the beginning of the video, these arms had quite a bit of play in them, and now there's a lot more resistance, which is good. So we're hoping that's going to have improved the play in the back of the car. It wasn't too bad of a job. Obviously everything was quite rusted being a 150k car, but it took around 3 hours to finish the job in total. So because we changed this toe arm, we are going to have to readjust the alignment. So we're going to head back over to Dream Automotive now and get that done. And then Imran can take it back out on the road and see what he thinks.
Now that Aston has fitted the new suspension components and aligned the car, let's see what it's like. It's a bit greasy today. Yes, definitely an improvement. Feels a little bit tighter. See what it's like over this bump here. A definite improvement. I think one thing I've noticed is there's a little bit of play or movement in the rear end, and then when it's loaded up, then it kind of settles down. So the bushes definitely need addressing, but you know what, the car with 152,000 miles on it, you'd expect that, right? Probably a lot less. They've probably been well beyond their best for a long time. So I think most people would probably be happy with this, but because I know what a really good E92 M3 feels like, I feel like there's something a bit lacking, and there is a slight bit of movement around the subframe area, and I'm hoping the next thing we do with the bushes is going to fix that. But I would say where we're at now with the new suspension components we've fitted today, we're probably around 50% there. So I would say it's a massive improvement, but it's still not driving like our Japan red E92 M3. But what we're going to do now is I can go back to the workshop and we can discuss how much this round has cost us and whether I think it's worth it. So, how much have we spent this time round on our high mileage E92 M3? 3 suspension arms each side and all the bolts were £350. We used TRW components. Now they do make the OE BMW arms, but because they didn't have the BMW logo on them, as we showed you, they were scrubbed off. They're slightly cheaper. Labour was £300. You could save that if you were doing the job yourself. And having the suspension alignment again was £100. So that is a total of £750 so far. The running total on this car so far, including the car itself and all the work we've done in this series, is £20,250. The next step for us is to change all the bushes in the subframe area, which Aston showed you at the beginning of the video, and we'll also drop the subframe and change the subframe bushes that connects it to the car. I'm hoping that's going to make the biggest difference on this and actually make it drive like our Japan red one, which for me drives very, very well and how an E92 M3 should do. In terms of what we've spent on this round and how much of a difference it's made, I think it's worth it, but it really needs the rest of the bushes changed to make this drive like it should. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you want to join the conversation, please drop a comment below and we'll try our best to respond to you. If you want to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you want to watch what YouTube thinks you might like from our other content, you can do so over here.